Good afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, November 17th, 2023. This is Ron Brown. I'm once again going to do my weekend report on Friday afternoon using HGSI with thinkorswim for market analysis. Remember, the market is your teacher. We observe to learn from the market. Uh, Same standard risk disclaimer as usual. Any stock, index, or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. If you are not an HGSI user, you should be. Just go to highgrowthstock.com and click on the link, and you can get a 30-day trial of the software, and there's no credit card, so that's really a good deal to give it a try. I'm experimenting with a little different layout here. I've got a monthly, a weekly, and a intraday chart on here. Just something to give me more information about what's going on. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to update. I'm going to deselect Metastock. I'm going to update and include intraday data. And I'll start that. What it's doing, it's going in and pulling the data out of thinkorswim. I'll pause while this takes place, while this updates, and then get back and do a market analysis. Okay, the data's been updated. I want to go back in and deselect that, and I'll update my Metastock files. I still update Metastock files because I use Amy Broker also. Okay, I'm going to go into the designer. I'm going to go to my user groups. I'm going to go to the market analysis user groups. I'm going to click on folder number 1. I'm going to click through to it, make it full screen, get rid of this, get it out of the way, and then I'm going to go to the quick pick, top-down process. I'm going to go to top-down analysis, indexes, and ETFs intraday. And I'm sorted on raw combo. I can immediately see that these indexes were all up today with the exception of the diamonds and the UVXY, the volatility futures ETF. So it was a positive day. Now, I'm going to open my OneNote, and this is from this morning. These are my comments. I didn't put one of these out Monday because I was having cataract surgery, but I do it every other day. Now the way I've got this set up, and I'll just open this up and get an arrow here. I've got this set up so I can get a lot of information immediately from the overnight session. It tells me how far we are from the 52-week high and so on. Well, you can read all this yourself, but I want to point out some things here. The Bongo weeklies have both turned yes. They have been yes for a while, and the fan is now up also. So the market's up, and it's up against resistance. This is as of Thursday night. What I said in my commentary is the comp gap down slightly at the open, which would have been right there. But by the end of the session, the index closed near the upper part of the intraday range. And you can see that right here. That's here. And the range is over here at 82.64%. Now, this if the buyers absorb the low volume selling near the end of the session to close near the high, the low volume test is bullish. And you can see there was a low volume test which was formed yesterday. Now this particular chart will only work, doesn't work with intraday data because for some reason it well, I know what the reason is. This information here is not downloaded until the evening, so it distorts the chart. So what I do to see what the comp is doing intraday, I'll just close this and switch over to thinkorswim, and this is the composite. Here are the last 4 days. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This gap is holding up. Yesterday or this morning I said this was a bullish candle because of the low volume test. Now we don't have VPA in thinkorswim on the comp because there's no volume recorded. So, but this did hold. This is a bullish candle, and this is another bullish candle. It's kind of a spinning top, but it closed in the upper part or the upper 2/3 of its range. So it's bullish. It held up on this options expiration day. So I'm going to go back over to an HGSI, and I'm going to go into this folder, broad market indices and sectors. I'll click through to the warehouse, and then I'm going to go down to my views for HGSI index analysis. I'm going to click on number 3, and I'm sorting on raw combo. I'm going to pause this and change my resolution. I like to do this so we can see this, or it shows up better on the video. But you can see it looks like oil was up today, and consequently the oil or the energy index was up. Look at this, almost 91% advancers over decliners. Sectors by industry index, 90% advancers. Major indexes almost 90%. HGSI industries index. These are all of the industries. If I change to this, you can see that they're in here. This was very strong also. 85% of the indexes were up for the day, and only 14.5% were down. If you want to look at the actual numbers, they're over here. Or the advancers divided by the decliners. I like to look at both this column and the percent advancers and decliners. But all the information is right in here for you, and you can see that using HGSI and thinkorswim after the market closes, you can get a really good read on what happened within the market. It was a strong day. Even the utilities, which was the weakest group according to a percent advancing to declining, was 1.14% positive, 1 to 1.4 positive, or 53% of these stocks were up and 46 were down. Now, it certainly didn't feel like the market was this strong. I wasn't around much of the day, but when I was here earlier, it didn't seem that strong. But looking at a chart of the advancers versus decliners on another screen, it was a very strong day in the market. It just didn't seem like it because the futures seem to be all over the place. But let's go back in here and take a look. The Nasdaq futures are slightly negative right now, but looking at the other indexes, transports are up, utilities were up, the S&P 1500 was up, the SOX was up, industrials were flat, the S&P 500 was up, and the 400 was up also. So this pretty much corresponds with what we're seeing on the advancing versus declining issues. Here's the semiconductor index, 24 stocks up and 6 down. I'm going to change to the index group, and I'm going to click on my quick pick. And if you go down to number 6, it shows you the percentage price change up intraday for the stocks in the group. And here's the percentage price change of the stocks that were up. Now I'm in the same group, but I'm going to click on 6A, which shows you the stocks that were down today. And AMAT was hit pretty hard today. down 4.35%, but this was an early morning shakeout. How do I know? Because I look at the intraday range. It closed at 91.49% of its daily range. Let's just put this down here and let's bring a chart up. And here it is. You can see where it gapped down, and here's where it closed. And look at the volume, a couple 100% above normal. And so those who had hard stops in on this got stopped out at the bottom at the open. And then when panic set in, those dumping early on were of course shaken out also. I'm going to go quickly back to here. Let's just take a look at it in here. And you can see that this is a 16-minute chart. Here's where it opened and it traded down here to begin with. But then buyers started coming in and it came off the low. Looks like about 6 points higher. Well, let's go back to this chart here. The intraday low was 141.94. The last was 148.07. So the last divided by the low, this number right here, 4.32%. So the low, this price right here, the last, compared to the low, 4.32% above that. This is a bullish candle. Doesn't seem like it to those who got stopped out, but it is a bullish candle because of the heavy buying. Here's the demand, or better yet, using a different Wyckoff principle, here is effort versus the result. Now, the early effort was down, but by the end of the day, this is what matters. Effort, result. Going to go back. Actually, I wanted to stay in there and let's go back to that SOX. And let's look at the some of the stocks that were up today. And the looks like Broadcom was up the biggest percentage, up 2.24%, but that is a massive stock, $981. Obviously, it's just for institutional players only. But you can see, looking down this intraday range column, that many of these stocks closed at 90% or above. Seven of them did, 8 of them did, were 90% of their daily range, and these two are 89%. So 10 stocks were in that range for the day. So there was really good buying, strong buying in those particular stocks. Let's just quickly run through these. I'll do an alternate one, get a little closer. You can see that it opened, traded down a little bit and closed at its high. Same thing for Intel. Intel's been very strong. While I'm in Intel, let's just do a little analysis here. I'm going to go to my 2 chart, and let's make it full screen. I want to point out a couple of things here. There, get an arrow up here. Okay, on this day right here, notice that there was stopping volume, and that corresponds to this bar right here. And notice the next day on the gap up, heavy volume, so heavy demand, and I'm sure this was on earnings, and there was a VPA flag strength coming back in, and then a confirmation of that strength as it shot up. The 3 went up through the 6, and the VPOC was positive before that. Actually, the VPOC looks like it turned positive somewhere in there. But anyway, all these indicators were there on Intel that this stock was going to move up. We didn't know it would move like this, but the VPA flags signaled a move, and that's exactly what happened. And look at it now. A little late to be chasing it now, but these opportunities come along all the time, and we just need to be looking for the lower risk entries with effort versus result. Here's effort, here's the result, and the VPOC was positive. This blue bar on the volume means it's a pocket pivot. And like I said, these come up all the time, and especially this is good if the groups are starting to move up also, and that's exactly what happened here. Sometime in the near future, I'm going to go ahead and do a series of videos on using VPA and these indicators in HGSI because they work. I mean, we can screen for them, and we can take advantage of those VPA flags, those signals when they do occur. They're not always going to be correct. We know that, but it helps us get in the lower risk areas. Here, here, and here, and here, rather than waiting for this kind of move where you're heavily exposed. Now I'm just going to drop down through these. Here's Tower Semiconductor, closed near the high. Advanced Micro Devices, same thing. Going back here, I didn't look at, let's look at Taiwan. You can see test, confirmation of the test, crossover. The 3 and the 6 didn't have a volume pocket pivot until clear up here, but these other indicators, including the VPOC, were indicating a buy as the groups started moving up. Okay, this is AMD. Same thing. This is the low risk entry. Here's Broadcom, that expensive stock. NXP, stopping volume. Couple of hammers. These hammers indicate that the buyers are closing this stock at the high of the day, and when the group took off, it took off too. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm just pointing out how often these VPA flags occur at the bottom. Yeah, the trend's down. It's hard to take these stocks, but when the groups start moving, that's a good time to get in. Now I'm going to cut this short, this video. I think looking at these preliminary things, the advances versus decliners and so on, yes, it was an options expiration day, but the indexes closed near their highs. A lot of stocks closed near their highs. Right now, I think it looks like this market may continue higher. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just taking the weight of evidence. Like I said, I'm going to try to get around to doing some videos using VPA, volume point of control, and everything, combining them together. I'll make these short videos, but they will show the power of the software. Thank you for listening. Have a good weekend.